Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Here with Daniel. I want to introduce what we're going to be doing here on kind of a weekly, bi-weekly basis. Today, we're going to learn more about Daniel, his background, how he gets into the space. And going forward, going to talk about the company, press releases, and of course, any questions people have. Want it to be pretty interactive, so please drop it below. I know not every day we get to interview a CEO of a company who's also ex-NHL player, so pretty exciting times. But Daniel, first things first, how are you?
I'm good, brother. How are you doing?
Good. Minus the foot of snow, but welcome to Canada. Uh,
Yeah, uh, don't got to deal with that anymore down here in Florida. So that's nice.
no, extremely jealous. But look, let's dive into it. Usually like to kick it off like early business career, but I know you have a crazy background. Maybe we start out. Like, tell me, getting into the NHL is an interesting story. Maybe we start there. Big success there through hockey, and then how that transitions into business.
Yeah, for sure. So, growing up in Canada, as you know, to integrate into any type of social atmosphere, you have to play hockey. And I found this sport at a pretty early age. I was 4. And I've always been somewhat interested in, these sports or things that have different rules that not many people understand or can adhere to. And then all of a sudden, I had this sport where, I could, put my shoulder into you if you touch the puck, and the whole aspect of just working as a team towards a certain goal really attracted me, and then just being really specific in the role that I played. Right, everybody plays a different function on all the different lines, and that was interesting. And then just growing up in sport, there's no out of bounds in hockey, so you have to deal and look and be attentive to a lot of different things. And I don't think people realize just how much the little details add up to the bigger wins, right? Like the chip off the board springs the centerman, the winger supporting them. And then, a lot of things have to go right to get that puck into the net and to be successful. So was attracted to it from a really early age, grew up in a household where my parents emphasized, you do well in school, anything you do it 100%. And so I've taken that through my life. And, funny enough, I was never a kid in like that thought about making the NHL, that was like the only thing I was going to do. But it happened pretty quickly. I made the decision. I played Double A my whole life, the Humberview Huskies, shout out to them. And then I made the jump to AAA with the Junior Canadians. I was on Anthony Stewart's team and Jeff Platt and Brent Burns, and we had just a sick team, and got a lot of exposure in that one year. Got drafted in the 6th round to the OHL, and then started playing there when moved away from home at 17, and 16 going on 17, and then that year in junior, as everybody knows, like I've been pretty transparent about my journey, really formed me into this person that I don't really recognize for the first 6 years in the NHL, which was Car Bomb, and how I got my nickname. You realize now that like trauma can really affect all of your actions, both in sport and off the ice. And we went through pretty, a lot of hazing and that cultural stuff that is associated with hockey. But it really turned me into this weapon, that really served me. So I could skate, I could hit, I could shoot, and then I could take care of myself and my teammates. So I've always been a big advocate for sticking up for people, and wherever I saw like inequality or injustice, I would jump over the boards and I would take it upon myself to make it right. And it's similar to this company, with what I'm doing now. But I ended up getting drafted 72nd overall or 73rd overall to the NHL. And at 19, after high school, I turned pro. Spent about a year and a half in the AHL, and just really kind of solidified my name. Broke out in the NHL. Wayne Gretzky was my coach for 2.5 years. Then I moved to Philly into a bigger market where I felt like I'd be a little bit more appreciated in my style of play. And then at 25, dealt with 2 surgeries back to back and got prescribed a lot of opiates. And so I had a problem with that. I had to ask for help. And then I got introduced in my career, lucky enough, to like meditation, self-deprivation tanks, hyperbaric chamber, like these alternative ways of healing and getting down after gains rather than using like alcohol and Ambien and painkillers and muscle relaxers like we're used to. And then, started living the right way. My last 5 years in the NHL, I went to the Stanley Cup Finals 4 times with 3 different teams. So I really learned how to play my role specific to championship teams, and taught me a lot, about business and how to apply those type of skills to what I'm doing now. And I was forced into early retirement in 2015 after my 7th diagnosed concussion. I watched my good friend Steve Monador struggle a lot after he was cleared for 19 concussions in the NHL. Again, the injustice, I'm a critical witness in his case against the NHL for the information that they knowingly withheld from us about the risks of repetitive head trauma, still holding their feet to the fire. And, lucky enough, with all this trauma that I sustained, the last 8 years has been dedicated to this brain health journey, and just reading as many PubMed papers as I could, researching, going to concussion clinics, listening to doctors, and then eventually, trying everything, almost going bankrupt, almost getting divorced, became extremely suicidal. I was dealing with symptoms like light sensitivity, slurred speech, headache, head pressure, impulse control issues, insomnia, anxiety, depression, the classic, constellation of symptoms. And then, it was 2.5 years ago now that luckily a former teammate reached out, told me about psilocybin. I took an invitation to a farm in a decriminalized city. I got administered 5.6 grams, and my life's been different ever since. I've been able to really reconcile with a lot of things in my past, recover my brain health, to be able to, found a company, put championship people around me, like drug developers and clinical operators, and founded Wesana a little over, 9 months ago. And, happy to report that we're just scratching the surface with the mission. Haven't really said much in the last year. It's just really putting the foundation in place. And then now it's kind of the coming out party where, happy to report we have a pre-IND meeting with the FDA to look at major depressive disorder associated with traumatic brain injury. We have 2 clinics that we're operating in Chicago that are treating symptomology. We're going to open up a 3rd and a 4th this year. Just really grateful for everything that happened to me in the past, because it's led to this point. And I appreciate you having me on, man, and working with us.